think, Marge. All I need is a title.
During the course of my 50 years on the planet, I have discovered that there are a number of different forms of stupidity, all of which should be avoided if you can or eliminated if possible. Probably one of the more common stupid mistakes that people do is talking about something that they have little to no experience with. In Nicole's case, this is the least, the most minimal of the stupidity that is on full display in this video. Nicole also outright mocks people with depression, saying that it is all in our heads, and saying it while adopting a mood of, "Ha ha, you guys." And to top it all off, given that there are a number of other videos where Nicole does the same thing, and in fact, she got notorious for her shaming video about fat people, this may be the latest attempt for a horrid, self-centered airhead to get some attention. If that is the case, please just keep your screens tuned here, and don't reward Nicole with a click on her original video. We'll pick it apart for you right here.
Only one person can get you out of depression, and that is you. It's all in your head. It's all in our head. Oh no, I'm holding you accountable for your own feelings and for your own life. Holy fuck.
Oh wow, you can be edgy by using swear words. What a freaking loser. Let me set the record straight for you. I have been dealing with major depressive disorder for about 22 years. It gets especially bad right around the holidays, and again during the months of April through June sometimes. At sometimes I notice it as simply feeling quite down for a majority of the time. At other times I get suicidal thoughts that I have to push back on. While literally depression might be in a person's head, and while literally the only person who might be able to do anything about it is the person with the depression, this does not mean that you get to act like you know what you're talking about while adopting a smug humor about it. Depression is a very individualistic condition, depending on the personality of the person and that person's brain chemistry at the time. A person with depression may decide to take any course of action, from toughing it out to seeking counseling to receiving antidepressant drugs, but again, that all depends on the individual. For you to treat this with your airheaded approach and imply that one size fits all is simply demonstrating that you're a fucking idiot.
Look at our lives. We have amazing technology. Grocery stores full of food and seats that heat up your butt in the winter. Hey. Or if you're a genius like me, you turn on the heat seat and keep your fast food warm. And yet we are the most depressed that humans have ever been in the history of the world. It's all in our head.
Again, you are fucking clueless. Our level of technological development, or our society's level of affluence, does not have any impact whatsoever on how people get depression. The fact that we've had tremendous technological advances and we live in an affluent society may mean that more treatment options might be available, but those factors do not impact who becomes depressed or how they choose to go about seeking treatment.
Depression is a chemical imbalance in your head. You can't just fix it, but you can. First, our brains are made of chemicals that are always changing balances. Sometimes when you have more of one chemical than another, then you can have depression symptoms. However, our brains are always changing, and we can change our brain. Yeah. Do something fun, get a nice hit of dopamine. I like to think of myself as a dopamine dealer.
So come on, line me up. Come on, line me up. Come on, line me up. That dopamine. 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 Come on, line me up. That dopamine.
Listen to how stupid you sound here. An orgasm produces a dopamine hit, so I guess the answer to a depression is an orgasm or two, or three, or more. But in actuality, hopping up on dopamine or serotonin is extremely stupid. Up until now, you've been addressing the symptoms of depression, not its causes, which are unique to each individual person based on their personality, their circumstances, and the brain chemistry involved. However, while a jolt of dopamine might sound like a solution, in reality, the effects drop off as you get the dopamine hit, and you need more and more of it to get the same effect, which means that people could in fact overdose on dopamine. The answer here is to control the brain's responses to the depression as you work on a longer-term mitigation of the condition.
Being depressed isn't the same as being sad. It's a real thing. Oh, I know. It feels like a ton of bricks is your blanket. I know every single argument that people are gonna throw at me about how depression is so hard and you can't just beat it and you can't just get over it. Maybe you enjoy being a victim, or maybe you want to get better. I don't know.
Well, at least you're being honest here because you don't know. And I think I can speak for most of us with various forms of depression. We aren't trying to play the victim, and we'd love to get better. The thing is, it's not as easy as you're stupidly making it out to be. Each person's depression is different. Hell, each time I confront my seasonal depression at that holly jolly time of the year, it's different. One year it might be a fairly minor somber mood throughout most of the time. Other years, I have had serious suicidal thoughts. So while I am not playing the victim and I would love to permanently resolve the situation, depression in any form is not as simple as you are trying to make it out to be.
Doctors are taught to prescribe antidepressants the same way they're told to prescribe Ritalin to kids with ADD. ADD. We all know what I think about that.
No doubt you have about the same amount of knowledge about ADD as you do about depression or obesity. That is to say, none, you vacuous airheaded bitch.
Antidepressants, please. You're still a tin man. Just moving now.
Except the opposite of depression is not happy. The opposite of depression is not having the condition.
Being high isn't feeling better. And I think there's something really scary about taking away people's ability to feel, which is what antidepressants do.
Now, here's where I kind of agree with you. I was on Seroquel back in 2007, and that stuff is powerful. I was told it would level out my moods, but what it did was it knocked me out completely. I did not have the brain energy to think at all. I quickly decided to stop using the drug, that dealing directly with the condition and its symptoms was better than the Seroquel. If Seroquel works for you, excellent, but it did not work for me.
And scientists have concluded after decades of studies that they have no idea why antidepressants work on some people and not on other people.
Again, that would be because everyone is different, and people react differently to psychoactive drugs.
You idiot, it's genetic. Nope. It was proven at Harvard that only 10% of our long-term happiness has anything to do with external factors, such as genetics, how you were raised, or what's going on at work. By the way, I agree. Sally is such a bitch. She's kind of a bitch. And the other 90% of our happiness is accounted to how we process the world.
Shut up! Gods and dust! Morons! I'm surrounded by morons!
First off, I cannot wait to tell my genes that they are so grounded to their rooms, just as soon as they stop living inside of my body, which means they are not an external factor, but rather an internal one that can greatly affect brain chemistry and how the brain processes the world. Perhaps you should get your facts straight, you dumb bimbo.
Isn't that amazing? Happiness can be a choice. Science proves it. Nobody is happy all the time, but it really is up to us if we're happy most of the time. Depression is real, but it's also really beatable. And we need to start advertising that more than the fact that it's a disease. Yeah! Here are my 4 steps on how to defeat depression.
Oh goody! Helpful advice from the know-nothing moron. This ought to be good for some laughs.
Step 1, you gotta keep it real. Go inside and figure out, what haven't I processed that's doing this? You're in a job you hate surrounded by people you don't like. You're with a partner that you know isn't good for you. Your friends are a bunch of dicks. You're depressed because you stopped listening to yourself. Go back to the voice.
The problem with this bit of advice is that one of the factors in depression can be your personality, or that little inner voice. What you're talking about is circumstances, and if they suck, it's kind of hard to look on the bright side of things. However, sometimes your inner voice might be telling you the wrong things. Sometimes your personality or the condition makes you more sensitive to your circumstances.
2. Positive habits. Science confirms that these following things will help you defeat, treat, and get out of depression. Exercise! Go to the gym, go to a dance class, get out walking, just keep it moving. I swear you will feel happier. Compliment people. You automatically feel good when you see their reaction of feeling good. It is a wonderful drug that you should use all the time. You can't OD on it, and it's free. Dodging Pfizer bullets. By the way, you look great today.
I cut out a bunch of this, but the idea that Nicole spouts forth is that being nice to others and not digesting a lot of bad news or stressful media will help a person stay out of a depression. The problem with this, as I have stated before, is that this approach, while worthwhile, does not work with all people with depression. It would not work with me because of how I rarely interact with people and how I digest the news and such. In this case, you would be forcing me to do things that I don't care to do while giving up some things that I actually like doing, even while dealing with the depression, such as keeping up with the news. The problem here is that while Nicole is trying to give good advice, it does not apply to everyone. Each person with depression needs to explore the situation and discover what applies to them and what helps them out.
Step 3. Find something to be excited about. Going on a vacation, meeting up with friends, because that is fantastic. It's proven that the more social we are and the more connected, like really connected to people we are, which goes back to keeping it real, depression levels automatically decrease. Getting excited also has to do with gratitude. 3 things you're thankful for every day. I swear it will change your life. Just write them in your phone.
This assumes that people have enough of a social life to make this possible. Some people are not social. Some people just don't associate with other people very much. And in some cases, depression may make someone feel like they just want to lock themselves away and not bother anyone with their own downness. I think I just made up a word. I know that I usually drop off the map during the holiday season because I dislike the festive mood, and I don't want to bring anyone down with my own generally somber demeanor. I generally just try to get through the day with as little hassle or bother as possible.
And step 4, make the decision that you are no longer depressed. The doctor can't fix you. You have to fix you. You are 90% of that treatment. You can fix you. I fixed me. And I took steps every single day, like someone training for a marathon to get better. And then I did.
Again, as with most of the other things Nicole has said, she really comes across as a rude idiot who does not know what she is talking about. I have dealt with my depression pretty much each year for the last 22 years. I know how to handle my depression and what I have done to make sure that I make it through each instance of the condition. I have done a number of things that have helped me cope, including buying 2 cats, one of which you're looking at. I take my depression one day at a time, and I look out for suicidal thoughts. And I just know that each day brings me one day closer to January and the end of the ordeal, at least for that year.